Now we are.
Now we're on. Okay, so we are coming out of winter and we are cleaning up the beehives. We lost 2 hives. I thought I had lost 3 out of 4. I actually lost several. I think I lost 3 last fall. And you guys saw the video of that. I had just, you know, with everything going on with my mom and everything, I didn't have time to get into the bees like I needed to be able to do. So we lost 2 or 3 hives that way. So we went into winter with 4. And here's the thing about beekeeping. There's various ways that you can keep bees, and there's various different types of equipment. So if you want to come over here, let me start with this. We like to do different types of insulation and windbreaks for our bees. Last year I didn't get a chance to do it to the precision that I normally do with ratchet straps and duct tape and the whole 9 yards and really buttoning it up tight.
You normally do it at the end of November, and we didn't get till January.
Well, I did a modicum of things, you know, loosely, and then in January I was able to really get it down, and we had a very, very, very cold winter. So I did some autopsies on my 2 hives that I had this morning, but these are bags of leaves. These are what we usually go in our neighborhood and in the fall, and people bag their leaves because we live in suburbia, and we insulate around the hive center, and that offers a really great amount of warmth. I did not get a chance to do that this year except for these 3 bags. I have one more over there, it's at the pool. And then Leah graciously cut down a bunch of pampas grasses. Leah, you can go show the pigs. In there, we just put a bunch of.
Oh my gosh! Look at Ray. He just found his bed. He found his bed.
He did. You can see all the grasses all over them because we just put them in there.
Ray, you're just a baby.
He's a big baby. So,
It's just a pillow. You want a pillow?
it's always devastating when you lose a hive, and I knew that I lost a month ago. I came out.
So this is the insulation you normally put around.
So this is just regular foam insulation board, R75, you know.
Oh, this is so sad. This is like the saddest bees ever beed.
So I normally have 7 hives out here. Now we're down to 2, and that's okay because I thought I was down to 1. Sorry, my overalls are falling down here. But Leah, if you want to come over here, we can show them. This is I dumped out.
If you guys don't want to see a massacre,
I dumped out a bunch of these bees, just from they had died, and so
sad. We're going.
What is that, Leah? Do you know what that is? Do you know what those are?
What?
So these are hive beetles. Okay.
Beetles. Do you think they lost to the hive beetles?
No, anything in a hive that's not native to the hive is going to be bad for the hive.
So can you do anything for hive beetles?
Yeah, you can. You can put. I've got them. They're not that. There's several theories. We can. Well, I mean, you can put the camera on there on the bees. There's these oil cups at the top that you put in, and they're supposedly, you know, they climb up there and they get in there drowned. Other people will use Swiffers, like, you know, the Swiffer. What are they? Whatever they are.
That's an entrance reducer. Do you want to open that anymore for them?
That is the next thing that I'm going to do. Yes.
Let's show them how you do that too. Oh, cool. So what's the difference between, like, this is real small?
Look at the pollen on the legs. You see it? Oh, you missed it. Wait till you see the yellow saddlebags coming in. So they're getting pollen from somewhere because somebody's bringing in like good amounts of pollen on their one's about to land that has some on there. There, do you see him?
We see it.
You see her?
There, she just went in.
So we back away here, and we will.
So what's the difference between that's an end? Tell them about the entrances. The entrance.
So I usually do a top entrance and a bottom entrance.
And why do you do that?
So that they have a ventilation at the top, and B.
But why don't you just let it open all the way? Why is it called an entrance reducer?
So that they can't be robbed.
Okay. From who robs them?
Not much of a ventilation. This is an error. This should have been on. Maybe it fell when I took it off, but it should be like right there.
Okay.
I'm just getting in this hive real quick to see how it is, because I thought it was dead. I truly thought it was dead. I came out here and I was like, well, they're not going to make it. A couple of months ago, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and.
Why do you go for the middle one?
Well, I usually go for the outside, but I'm actually trying to see, you know, so we've got some dead bees here. I'm going to help them out. because they will pull these out, and that's so much work for them to do.
Is it?
Oh yeah,
This one's
we've
on
got
there
a lot
too.
of dead bees. I'm going to help them here in a second. What I'm looking for is
Egg frames.
frames of eggs, because if I don't find any frames of eggs,
What's on the other side?
then this hive is not alive, and they're just going in here to rob it, which is fine. I'm okay with that too.
Oh, you think that the one hive on the left might be robbing this hive?
It looks like it now that I've got it open. Just, that's okay. And if that's the case, which it looks like it, because like I said, I thought this hive was dead. If that's the case, I'm just going to leave this open for them to.
So we're down to
have
one hive, is what
more
you're saying.
bees yeah, but it's a very healthy hive, obviously. But we'll check every frame just to make sure. Yeah, see, they're eating all that. You can see the crystallized sugar.
So why are those bees in there? They
died.
Did they die
Well,
coming
are their
out?
butts moving? Because if their butts are moving, then they're eating, and they're in there, but they're probably just dead.
Okay.
You can usually tell. See, that's a dead bee.
Okay.
Those are just dead bees. So this is probably a dead hive. I'm not upset about it.
Okay.
I thought it was a dead hive, and if they're robbing this hive, I'm surprised that they weren't robbing the other two. So there's a little cluster. That's probably where their little final days were. It was a small hive. I mean, it was, wasn't the healthiest of all, but there will be a lot of resources for them, this hive next door, to be pulling from.
You say resources. What are resources?
So food, right? Pollen, nectar, like honey. It's essentially, now it's not nectar. So, I'm examining this hive, and we're identifying
But you don't
how
see
they
any-
died. There's no mold in this hive,
And you don't see any moss
and
or
there's no
hive beetles.
There's some beetles, but that's not, whatever. So what, Michelle? What did this hive die from? We're doing a hive autopsy.
What about
together.
mites?
I mean, mites will weaken the hive. And when I say hive, I mean the bees themselves. This hive just froze. So, Michelle, what makes you say that? Like, what makes you say that they froze instead of like a disease or something like that? Because our winter was so harsh, and because this was a smaller hive that I could have reduced down to a nuke. I don't have any nukes left to have done that, but other beekeepers would have. And so I just decided, you know what, we're gonna see how they do. I didn't expect all of these hives to make it through the winter anyway. So yeah, there's no mold on these. They didn't, they had plenty of ventilation, and based on that tiny little cluster there, they just froze. So what I'm doing right now is
Oh my gosh.
the carnage. So that's actually not a lot of bees.
No, it's
This
not.
this was a very small hive going into winter, and it looks like a lot of bees, but it's really not. And there are a lot of
Beetle eggs?
what?
Are those beetle eggs? Like,
No, this is just, so all of this,
but these are beetles.
those are hive beetles, but those aren't eggs or anything
Okay.
like that. That's just hive junk. I'm gonna take this and wash it and clean it and bleach it and the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
I had a lot of issues with hive beetles last year.
Okay.
So I'm not surprised at all that that I'm seeing the hive beetles in here. I'm not going to leave this out here because I don't want hive moths to get into anything that I want to save. And what I mean by that, when I say leave, I'm going to leave it for a couple of days and let them rob it out and eat all the resources that are in there.
And then what will happen though if you leave it out too long is hive moths.
Yeah.
Which last year we lost a ton of frames to hive moths, but this year I don't see any eaten up by hive moths. Remember how many we had to burn?
That was in the fall. Yeah.
Oh,
here's why you don't see that right now, because we're coming out of winter. The hive moths can't withstand the winter either.
Okay.
Like, I don't know how they overwinter. They obviously overwinter somehow, some way, but they didn't overwinter in my hives. I can tell you that right now.
How often should you check your hives to make sure they don't get hive moss?
You're supposed to check your hives once a week. I don't check them that often. And when I say supposed to, it depends on who you're talking to. It's, you know, just what my beekeeper friend Ray used to say is checking can just be walking out and just observing them, okay? But essentially the rule of thumb is that you want to be interactive with your bees once a week, so that you're staying and you kind of are monitoring what's going on. And we're going to take these and we're going to clean those, and probably go ahead and clean that. So now let's take a look inside of here, Leah.
Okay.
You can, well, you can stay there, you can come around the back. I like to work my hives from the back because they're going in the front, and I don't want to be in their way. So, on the top here, we have this, I added this very late. They may or may not be using it. It's just some candy.
What's bee candy?
So inside there's some pollen patty that I made, and then this sugar here. The only reason that I'm getting in here is just because of morale, my own morale.
Well, you are supposed to get in your bees. You want to see if they have any hive moss or...
Well, they're not going to have anything really too negative coming out of winter. But to just see how well they're doing, I mean, look at that. That's, and we can give it a little lift. It could be a little bit heavier. I'm going to guess all the activity that's happening is up here. Sorry. In this top box. I could see, that doesn't look good. This is an old box. I could invert. Sometimes I've done that before, coming out of winter, because they don't like, bees, when they move, they like to move up. They don't like to move down. So if this bottom box is full of empty frames,
why don't you lift it up and see?
I'm going to. What I want them to do is to move up. Now, the question of inverting your boxes is, you know, one of, everybody's got their own opinion. We've done it before in the past. I generally do it coming out of winter. Here's what we're gonna do. Slide this here. We're just gonna set these girls right here. Okay, so let's see. Let's move one of these frames over. Now we're doing this today because it's 75 degrees out. It's the first real warm day. The bees will be in a very good mood. And if you're going to get inside of them, you want them to be in a good mood. So you see where this cluster is on like frames 4 or 5 and 6 there, roughly. I'm going to go straight down from frames 5 and 6 because if there is any egg laying activity, it will be down. It will be on these frames, ideally.
And so, what are you looking for then?
We're going to look for eggs.
And if you find them, what does that mean?
There will be eggs. There will be eggs on one frame that we pull here today.
That's kind of empty.
That is empty. So let's take a look here. They may just be cleaning it out.
So if you...
So the reason why I know there's no eggs on here, and we're going to do something else here in a second. We're going to take this off this bottom board, and we're going to take it off the bottom board anyway to invert these, but we're going to clean up that bottom board. These frames are not covered with bees. They would be covered with bees if those frames had eggs in them, because they would have, you know, nurse bees taking care of the new babies. So I'm pushing these frames together because you want to keep them as tight as possible. This box is kind of falling apart. I don't like doing this next part because it kind of throws them all into a tizzy, but we're going to do it as quick as we possibly can. Here, there's a lot of hive beetles in here. We got live ones, so I'm gonna have to be treating for hive beetles because We've definitely got them coming. The hive beetles are coming out of winter too. All right, so very quickly, putting this box right here.
Why are you taking the bottom board off? Is that just for winter?
It's dirty.
But will you put it back?
So I'm going to go and put this back. I want the entrance reducer while we're still coming out of winter because of robbing. And also definitely...
Hang on, I'm being chased. Somebody doesn't like me. I'm walking away because I'm being chased. I'm coming back. Hang on. No, I'm just being chased. I'm coming back. Somebody thought I was the big bad bear trying to rob them. My daughter lost her hives this winter, says Shauna.
I'm going to put this on here. They probably don't need it.
Is it better to do that or sugar water?
Sugar water. Well, this time of year they can just do sugar water.
So could you turn that into sugar water even with the pollen?
Not really, because I have the pollen in there. It would just ferment. So I'm going to put this little vent on here, and that'll give them an upper entrance. They also have an upper entrance already in a little hole there.
So did you see any eggs? Did you want to wait to see make sure you have some eggs?
Oh yeah, well, because you were running away, I just decided to let them button back up.
No, I just had one. Don't you want to make sure they're eggs?
I know there's eggs because there's all these bees. Like these are all fresh bees. I've been watching them, and they've been taking test flights in the afternoon, so I know that this is an active hive. I was just going to show everybody else the bees.
I think you should.
Okay. Well, here's what we'll do. We'll just take this off, leave this lid on, just move this over here. I always try to put things on an angle so I don't squish anybody. All right.
And eggs will mean that there's a queen in there.
Right. Well, eggs mean that they're hopping and moving, and the fact that they're wanting to pull in that pollen tells me a lot. Tells me that it's an active hive. There's so many things that can tell you that your hive is a reproducing hive. When I say reproducing, I mean there's babies that are being born.
Do you think this is going to get extra big again in a couple months to split?
This is going to get big in about a week or two, and I'll come out here and I'll do a split.
That's exciting. Is that fun to do?
It is. It's also nerve-wracking.
Because you never know. You just have to hope that they raise up a queen, right?
Yeah, exactly. But they usually do.
So what you'll do is you'll take a couple things of eggs, and that looks pretty active.
Well, this has a lot of honey.
But no babies
On it, and a lot of pollen.
Okay.
So I want you to note that pollen right there. Before I even looked, and kind of laughed there in a second, because I knew as soon as I saw, you see all that pollen right there?
Mm-hmm.
What that told me before I even looked at this frame that I'm about to pull out is on the other side of this frame is babies.
Yay!
Because they put the pollen right on the other side of the babies so that they can feed them right there. So I'm going to just gingerly set this right here, hopefully without squishing anybody, because I don't want to put it back right now, because you don't want to pull frames if you can help it. And what another one of my bee instructor guys used to say is you don't want to roll the bees, meaning when you pull your frame out and their whole bodies start to roll because you're pulling it out and there's so many bees. Look at that.
So that's the difference. That's capped
Those
brood.
are all capped brood. And you can see where it's not just cap brood, but you see the spottiness of that.
I see some pollen right there. On the
What does the
legs.
spottiness mean, Leah?
Oh, they're raising up some queens?
No, the spottiness of the holes around all the cap brood.
What does that mean?
It means
They're
that a lot of
coming
them
out?
have emerged already, and there's probably
Oh.
new eggs in the bottom of those.
Oh, so if they're emptied and spotty, that means the babies are coming out.
Right, and now they've been refilled with eggs and larvae.
And this side has them
Leah,
too.
Can you
This side has them too.
can you see on the very edge of this, like 7 o'clock? There's white larva. Can you get in on that?
7 o'clock down here?
Yeah, on the edge of the cap brood, there's white larva.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can you get it?
Yeah, I see them.
All right. So we're gonna go ahead and put everybody back.
So the
There's
white,
also capped brood on this next frame.
yeah, we saw that.
This.
So that's kind of happy, right?
That's why I said I wanted to get in here for a morale boost for myself. This hive, you've got hives that do various different things. Now I'm making sure I put this back in right because I want all that. See the side of the pollen?
Yeah.
I want that facing exactly where they had it.
Mm-hmm.
There are bees that do very well at certain things. Some do very well at making honey. Some do very well at making bees.
Mm-hmm.
This hive last year threw so many swarms, I couldn't keep up with them.
Right. And you catch them, we would watch them in our
And
trees.
so they're coming out of winter, rocking and rolling. And so, I'm thinking
We don't want to split yet.
we don't, but I have to also be cognizant of my time and efforts and what I will actually be doing. So as long as Leah promises to stay on top of it with me, Leah, go over there and blow.
Are you kidding me, Michelle?
Leah is
I don't think you like me. I got the camera. What do you think I'm doing? She told me to blow, y'all. I think you want a brush. Don't we have a brush, dude?
I just didn't bring it out.
Next time we're brushing,
I blow.
I'm not getting my face up to a thing of bees. Now, there's a difference between Michelle and me. I'm here helping, and let me see. I have all this stuff on, okay? I do. But Michelle can get stung and she doesn't blow up. I get stung, I blow up. I'm not allergic. It's just annoying.
Okay, so anyway, lots of hive beetles in this hive.
So what are we gonna do?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay, but there's
We're gonna do
there
something.
are things.
Yeah, we will. I mean, you can treat them with a chemical, which I try not to do. I will likely do a Swiffer. I found that those are the most effective. Let me tell you why I don't like to do the Swiffers.
Okay.
I don't like to do the Swiffers because sometimes it catches bees.
Okay.
And the idea of even one of my little bees getting caught in a little Swiffer and not being able to move
Michelle, that's ridiculous.
makes me really sad.
That's ridiculous because they're gonna be overrun right now.
I
We
know.
need to-
but it
So a
still makes me
literal
sad.
Swiffer?
A Swiffer sheet. Yeah.
We don't have any.
I know. I can get some.
Okay.
So status report is this hive is killing it just like they did last year, and I'm going to try to stay active out here to go ahead and do splits. So what does that mean? It means that I'm going to take this equipment and I'm going to clean it all up. I'm probably not going to use this bottom board again. This is a bottom board that was made in an emergency situation. I'm going to go get some of my good ones out, and I'm going to I said I wasn't going to leave this out here. I changed my mind. I am going to leave it out here only because this is literally 1 week away from me splitting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will split first into this one, and then we will probably be doing splits all spring. I'll probably be doing splits every 2 weeks coming into spring. What does that mean? It means that we're probably not going to get any honey this year. We'll see. But we're going to focus on building hives instead of building honey. And there is a difference. But what we're also going to do is we're going to take advantage of the fact that we have a very strong hive that made it out of winter and produces bees very well. They do a really good job at making bees.
That means you don't have to buy any new hives.
And so we are not going to have to buy hives because we're just going to do splits.
And good genetics because they made it through the winter.
So what I'm also going to do, because they're already in this space wanting to clean up frames, is I have over here, and I was going to show you guys this, what I was cleaning up earlier.
This is the carnage.
Well, it's carnage, yes and no, but I can show you the... I'm getting rid of all these frames. But here's the cluster that I told you that
Got the mold.
Well, no, this doesn't have any mold. Yes, that's mold from the actual bees, but it's if they had lived, there wouldn't be any mold, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
On this specific hive. I have another hive that I'll show you. The mold is concentrated to just this cluster. If I had mold throughout the hive, then I would know that they died.
So basically they froze,
and
then
it
molded from the bees.
But this one right here, this has mold on it right here. So I'm going to clean all this up and bleach this and see if we can salvage it. I'm not sure that we can, but like right up here, Leah, you can see there's mold right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that there were wet frames in here that I didn't like.
Do you think that had something to do with the lid? Did the lid leak?
No, it all has to do with ventilation. So what happens is in the winter, bees will shiver to keep themselves warm, and they keep this hive at 95 degrees. And that hive is at 95 degrees, and because it is cold outside and it's warm inside, they're creating constant moisture. And that moisture has to go somewhere. And if it can't go up and out, it's falling back down and raining on the bees, creating this. I thought that I had ventilated enough, but there's always the times where you miss it and something doesn't work right or whatever.
Looks like, I don't know if there's a little on here or not. What's that? No.
No, that's just standard. No, that's all. This was nice and clean. This is the one that just froze.
Okay.
This is actually very clean. Very, very clean bottom board. This is the one that I'm going to put back over there for that other hive. I'm just kind of getting rid of the dead bees and stuff. I really like this bottom board, just FYI. My friend George, if George is watching this, he's probably judging. Every beekeeper will judge every beekeeper, and I don't mind. I don't judge other beekeepers. Well, maybe I do. But
yeah, you do.
Maybe I do. But George does not do screened bottom boards, and he has his own reason for that, and he does very well. He has like 8,000 hives. I don't know how many he has. So I can't judge George at all. But every person has to do what works well for them. We've been keeping bees for 10 years now, and the screened bottom boards work very well for us. So I am probably going to not use, especially going into winter, any more bottom boards that are not screened. The idea behind the screening is that in winter, this has this little cutout. It's a little groove, and you put this board in there, and that keeps it buttoned up. Okay, but like this has this nice grid on it, so that you guys saw that I was kind of scraping off the bottom board over there.
You can count and see how many mites.
You can count how many mites you've got. You can just see what's going on in the hive, what's happening. It gives you a lot of information. You can keep this on all year long. I like to pull it in the summer. It gives my bees, I feel like, a good little airflow, and we do really good with this. And so my bottom boards in the past, like you saw that one, similar to what Justin made, was very flat. This is purchased probably, I think this is either a Dedant or a Better Bee bottom board. I like the little ramp that it has on the front that causes, rain to kind of slick off. It gives them a little landing pad. I love this bottom board. I'll probably keep buying these ones specifically. Like I said, I'm going to go put this one back. And,
but you're going to go ahead and put that bottom thing back in, even though it's spring? The grid thing?
Yes, and here's why. Because we are still having some cooler nights. But remember, I'm not going to use this until I do that split in a week anyway, and I'll just reassess whether I feel like it needs it or not. But another thing that I like about this is that it inserts from the back and not the front. In the past, the ones that Justin made, we inserted from the front. And anytime you can work the hive from behind is better on the bees. It's
Looks
less
like it
stress on
gives
them.
ventilation.
So
it looks like the hive that we did, this is the bottom board that did not have the screen is what molded. So for us,
it is, yeah.
it seems like this adds a layer of ventilation.
Right, it does. But I've had hives mold over the winter with screen bottom boards. But I didn't have as good ventilation at the top that I know I had this year, or at least I feel like I did. So it could be any number of things.
What's the other hive that did good? What's its bottom board?
It's a screened bottom board.
Okay.
It's not one of these. It's one of our older ones. I think I have about 3 of these new ones. So anyway, if you guys want to get into beekeeping, I love it and I recommend it for everybody because I think everybody should have their own sugar
Join
source.
a bee club.
Join a bee club, but also recognize that, and this goes with everything that we do. First of all, there's going to be loss. You're going to have to just deal with that. And second of all, because we're new to this, and when I say new, I mean our generation that's alive right now, we weren't raised with doing like beekeeping, right? And so there is not just the learning factor, you have some sugar at the top of that. That's why it's just sticky. I saw that when Leah's getting a little sticky. What I want to say is it's expensive. And you cannot look at, I don't look at how much honey we get, which we usually get about 5 gallons a year.
In every other couple years.
No, actually, we've gotten one in the past 3 years. We've gotten about 5 gallons every year. But there are some years that I don't get any honey. I don't look at the honey, and you can't do this with your chickens. You can't do this. Stop doing this. And I mean this genuinely. We have to transition to doing these things ourselves, no matter the cost. And what happens is people are like, you want to bulk at $12 a dozen eggs, but your chicken coop costs you $1,000 and yada, yada, yada. Or, you want to bulk at the price of honey and yet, you've got all this money and equipment and all this time in it. And is it really worth it when you lose, 3 hives in the winter or whatever? And I'm like, I can't pay money for the skills and the class
it's a learning
that this is, but more than that, it is my job as a human being, citizen of the earth, to bring back that we are supposed to do these things. We're not supposed to pay everybody else to do it. And so yeah, if it costs me money to reintroduce a dying species, which for the longest time the honeybees were endangered, by the way. They're not anymore, but I don't know if they never made it to endangered, but they were getting close to it. If I have if it costs me money to do that, like, who cares? I'm doing the right thing by God. I'm doing the right thing by the planet. And so, Leah's like, Michelle, smile. I want to encourage you guys that if you want to get into beekeeping, know that it's not free, but the rewards, even in the loss and even in, the hardship and what you have to do. I mean, the honey's great. We eat honey at our house every single day, and we are eating our honey, and I have plenty of honey, and I have plenty of my honey to last like another year or two without, if we didn't, probably another 2 years if we didn't harvest any honey. But it's not about the honey to me. It's about the fact that I love these bees. I love watching them. If you just, one of the things that I can recommend if you want to get into beekeeping is on Amazon. It's kind of expensive. I think it's called like the Beekeeper's Bible. It's very like nostalgic looking. It's really thick, and it goes into the history of beekeeping, and it's so fascinating. But what it does is any bee book really will show you that I think that out of all of God's creation, bees are one of the most intricate and fascinating things that you will ever learn about. And I've been doing this for 10 years and I'm still learning, and I still don't know everything. And so if you have any inkling to get into beekeeping, I would say yes, even with the losses. So this wasn't supposed to be so long, but this is what we're doing today here at Gods of Laker. The day after Leah's birthday, she suited up for the first time in many years to come out here and be with me. So all right, we'll see you guys next time right here from Gods of Laker.